Hi, good morning. This is a quick video here. It's about compost, actually. This is my trash can. There's some great examples of things you do not want to put in your compost. These milk cartons, the slick texture. You don't want those in. Now the holidays are over, and we're using disposable plates, paper plates. Some are good for the compost, some aren't. This is styrofoam. This has slick paper. This is another slick paper, styrofoam. You definitely don't want these plastics in your compost. But sometimes we have paper towels, paper plates, egg cartons that are made of that constituted cardboard stuff. Those are always good. Salad. It's a big bag of salad down there that didn't get eaten, so it's going to go out in the compost. It's actually going to be a mulch. Now, coffee grounds are always great. I'm a big advocate of coffee grounds. I love them. Banana peels. And there's the egg carton in the back. I don't know if you can see that. Even the sugar packets, the paper in the sugar packets will break down. Any kind of leafy material, like an old poinsettia, that could go in. Now, we've had some discussions before about bones going into the compost, and bones, you could put bones in it. They will disintegrate to some point. It takes an awful long time for it to break down and to actually be able to use, your plants be able to use it. So there is a smell factor when that's breaking down because there is meat. You do want to avoid meats only because of the smell. You could put meats in. If you're comfortable with putting meats in, you don't mind the smell, you have plenty of room, by all means go for it. Hi, Mocha. Hi, Mocha. It's my Mocha. She came to say hi. So, meats and cheeses, I typically avoid them. Sometimes I'll put a bone or two in, but I don't do it very often. Pork bones that are not too sharp or whatever, I give to my dogs, and I let them take care of that. Now, as far as how I compost, I do something a little extra when I compost. I add a tablespoon of plain yogurt to my buckets. And this is just a cat litter bucket. And right now I'm surrounded by my cats. This is Oscar. Say hi, Oscar. No? Okay. So all I do is I add the brand new container. Sorry. The tablespoon of yogurt, because it has good probiotics, right? It has your good bacteria is the ones that you want in your compost naturally anyways. Lactobacillus, right? All your bacillus is in there. Not just the lacto, but there's another one. I can't remember the name of it right now. You want those bacteria in your compost anyways. You encourage it by the way we compost it. We're doing the air composting. We have aeration to the compost. That helps facilitate that microbe in your compost, and that's what helps keep the smell down in your compost. Well, I jumpstart that by adding some just plain yogurt. You could add any yogurt to it, as long as it's yogurt and it's healthy. And the sugars that are in some of these yogurts are just fine for compost. So if you don't like it and somebody's giving you something, put it in your compost. So now this is a organic yogurt, which is what I like to use. So that's just something to think about if you're composting and you have problems with the smell. Now I'm going to show you the other way, the other part of my composting step. We do live in the desert. I live in the desert. It's very dry here in the summertime, and I need a way of keeping moisture in my compost pile. All right, so just keep that in mind. I'm going to take this bucket out to the compost, and we'll pick up from there. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys this. Just trying to back up my thought when I use yogurt. In compost, this is by Cornell, Composting Science and Energy, Cornell University, EDU. And it's talking here about the characteristics, the earthy smell of soil is caused by actinomycetes. I hope I pronounced that right. It's pretty tough. Organisms that resemble fungi, but actually are filamentous bacteria. Okay. All right. So if we look at Lactobacillus vulgaris, here we are. We're talking. This is in yogurt, by the way. It is a gram-positive rod that may appear long and filamentous. It is a non-mobile and does not form spores. Okay, so here's that word again, filamentous. So that's, and it goes further talking about the industry, and Lactobacillus vulgaris is commonly used along Streptococcus thermopylae as a starter for making yogurt. The two species work in synergy with LD vulgaris, producing amino acids from milk protein, which are then used by S. thermophilus. Both species produce lactic acid, which gives yogurt its tart flavor and acts as a preservative. The resulting decrease in pH also partially coagulates the milk protein, such as caseins, resulting in yogurt's thickness while fermenting milk. L. vulgaris produces acetaldehyde, one of the main yogurt aroma components, from strains of L.D. vulgaris, such as whatever, L. vulgaris GLB44, as produced in bacterians, which have been shown to kill undesirable bacteria in vitro. Okay, so not only does yogurt have the good bacteria that you want in your compost, it also kills the bad bacteria. So it's a win-win. If you use just a little bit as an inoculant, it'll help spread the good bacteria and take care of the bad ones, and thereby no smell. And that's my reasoning for adding yogurt to the compost bin. All right, now I'm going to go outside now and show you my setup out there. All right, so this is my compost bin, and it's 2-chambered, and The top I have air holes drilled in, and there's been significant sun damage here. Believe it or not, this has lasted about 4 years in direct sunlight. So in my compost, I have a wire screen down the bottom. I have holes drilled through so that my solids stay on top and my liquids go right on through. I do wet this from time to time whenever I go by it. I got the hose. I'll wet it down. And the idea is to collect the liquids in the bottom. So all the rotables, they put their liquids, and that resulting leach I collect and I use as a fertilizer. I use it as a direct fertilizer. It doesn't hurt the plants. I've used it thinned out. My preferred method is to use it thinned. I put like a I don't know, one of my yogurt cups, and I'll put it in a watering can that I have here. It's about a 5-gallon or 3-gallon bucket or watering can. Okay, so since we're in the desert, I don't want the smell. I don't want the animals to get into my compost. And there's a really bad problem with the compost just drying out, period, okay? In the desert, that happens. So this was my solution. It may not be your solution, but this is my solution. And so the upper chamber is where the solids go. I collect the bottom portion, and I use it as a fertilizer. So I've got, in the low points, I have drills. I've drilled holes in the bottom. So there's probably about 6 holes on this side and 6 on the other side, and I think I even have a couple in the middle. So this originally started out as a worm farm for me, a worm farm, and it didn't work that great. So, but it did prove itself as being a good composting unit. Homemade, you know, it works. You know, it's homemade, definitely homemade. You guys can see it, but you know, this is if you're struggling with your compost. I put my stuff in a pile and I've watered it, and I just watched it dry out completely. It would compost a little bit. I'd get a little bit of burn, but it just wasn't working. I'd put my scraps in there, and grass clippings, and yeah, it just thoroughly dried out, and I couldn't use the compost, or very little would be made. But when I switched to this, though, I started getting compost. So this acts sort of like a digester. Digesters are used to create anaerobic environment. So I've borrowed from their designs, kinda, except I have the aeration with the holes, and I get enough airflow through here that it doesn't rot. I don't get a anaerobic smell from this. So I had to be creative to get my compost to work right, and this was my solution. All right, so yogurt and my aeration of my compost in a bucket, that's what helps me get compost in the desert. All right, hope you like my video. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.